Shirley, when I met you in a circumstances that were not the ideal because we was doing an amazing conference few days. There was something like a week conference that we have to show up every day for so many hours. And for us, like for you was 1 in the morning, for me was 3 in the morning. I get up at 2 to be in the conference all night. But see, this shows when you are determined, you want to learn, you want to change your life. Doesn't matter how you feel. And I remember all of a sudden, they point to this lady called Shirley, and she was lying there. And I say to myself, oh my God, she's in bed in a conference. I never saw anybody in bed or lying in a couch. But I'm going to let you tell your story because it's your story and this can encourage and empower someone. Okay.
I'm just going to move so that I'm not so much in the shadow because I rushed downstairs to
yes. Can you put your volume up? Because...
How's that? Is that better?
A little bit better.
Okay, that's as loud as I can go here because I also don't have my earphones. Would you like me to go and get those and then we come back, or shall I keep...
Yeah, it's a little bit better. It's a little bit better.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, the reason why I was actually laying down during that conference was I have broken my back the year before and I was slowly recovering. I lived in the UK. Unfortunately, I lifted something heavy and I didn't know at the time that I had osteopenia, which is the precursor to osteoporosis. And as I lifted this, I broke my back in 2 places. So it took me a very long time to get going again, 6 months of laying around. I started to get some physio and help and moving, and I was recovering. I'll come back to that later. But for this conference, so roll forward 2 years, just before I'd bent down to do something and I'd hurt my back again. So I was in a world of pain. I didn't fracture, but I had definitely damaged it, and this was not a good thing. But as you said, I had committed to this conference, and I was going to be determined. So I rested and I changed pain medication, etc., in order to show up. And I think it's that mindset that I've developed over many years, that I can do it. I can control some things I can't control, and then work out how to go forward. So in this case, I knew that if I could lay on my back and have my laptop on my lap, then I could do it. And then I would rest during the day. So, but for me, it was all night, and gosh, hands up to those people that do night shift, because it was brutal.
Yes.
But yes, and I had the pleasure of meeting you. So, and here we are.
Yes. Okay. Like the other ladies, you have a story as well. You have a beautiful story because we share together. And really, I was touched. I don't know how much you want to share of that, but even if it's two little lines, you're a successful businesswoman, which is fantastic. And then you find yourself that you needed to learn, like myself, how to work here in the internet. That alone, they has to give us we learn when we learn we have to do online work. But you mentioned that you, as a child, as a young girl, needed to learn to live with a mom. There was a mom that was not the same like all your friends. Would you like to share just a little bit, because that I'm sure is many women that went through that.
Yes, sure. My mum had bipolar, and I'm an only child. So in those days, it was called manic depression. So they didn't have this, and there wasn't a lot known about it, and it was very, as mental illness can be, not a lot of information around. And my father decided when I was 5 that he couldn't cope. So he decided to leave a 5-year-old to deal with my mum. Now, that comes with all sorts of challenges. One of the biggest ones is that as a child, you're never secure. The thing about this is when you are a child that you don't actually understand, you're just in it, and you just have to get through each day and hope that today is going to be a good day. Now, lots of those days, they weren't good. And many, many days of not knowing where the food was coming from, getting myself to school and getting myself home, and having a, gosh, I'm getting emotional because I've been running around. So,
do you have some water?
Yes. So just actually understanding that when you love somebody, particularly if it's your mother or your parent or your child, you love them unconditionally. And when you're a child and something's going wrong with your parent, you take it a lot on. And in many times, I felt that it was my fault. It was my fault that my mum on this day wouldn't get out of bed. She was too sad to get out of bed. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't being a good daughter. I wasn't doing enough. And then there'd be other days where, in a manic phase, where we're in a car and I've been pulled out of school and we're driving down a highway chasing rainbows and having a great time. And then I'm the good daughter, and I'm feeling really happy, but always knowing that tomorrow could be another dark day. So this roller coaster for years and years and years, it lays an imprint on you as a child. So also because of nobody talking about it, my mother was one of 11, and they were all fully aware that but my mum had problems when I was a baby. Apparently I was taken off her and then given back, and my grandfather at the time apparently intervened, and everybody did a lot of big covering up. So the thing is that I learned really early on to keep a lot of secrets, and even though it wasn't referred to, I was lying, because when anybody would ask me, yes, everything's fine, everything's going really well, and a big cover up. So you can imagine I'm a 6, 7, 8, right through to 12-year-old with all of this weight, taking care of my mother, protecting this. So through my teenage life, luckily she met a lovely man, became my stepfather. He was in the SAS. So that's a whole nother story, going from one thing to another. But for the first time, I could actually wake up in the morning and feel secure. I knew how this day was going to pan out and how it was going to go on. But of course, a lot of those messages and things are already in my head. So I still didn't speak about it for a very, very long time. And we won't go into, but I can relate to lots of things that the other ladies are saying. But it wasn't until my mum, it got to 2000, and now I have a couple of children. My mum, she got a lot of treatment when I was in my 20s, and got some good therapists, good medication, and our life changed completely. When my son was born, when I was 25, all of a sudden, it was just so beautiful. I had the mum that I'd waited 25 years for. I would watch her with my 2 children over the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And I would often stand by her door, just watching her interact with my children. My children adored her. And I would have tears rolling down my face because it was just so beautiful to watch. It wasn't available for me, but here it was for my children. And I was so grateful. So roll forward to 2000. Within 2 years, my father died of a heart attack and my mother died of cancer. As I said, I'm an only child. So in those 12, for Dad, I had no warning. I got a phone call walking out of uni one day to say that your father has just died of a heart attack, which, you see on the movies sometimes where those people just, slide down the wall. That's exactly, that's not in the movies. That's your legs just give out when you're just hit with this. I was only talking to him. earlier that day. So he was on the other side of the world in Brazil when this happened. Then a year later, my mum got lung cancer and we were given 12 months. Now, that was very, very challenging, but I chose to care for her at home. And she died in my arms at home, just the two of us. And before that, the 3 days before that, when she was still conscious, and they put a special port in to relieve her of her pain, and then, you know, her body slowly shuts down. Be in her bedroom at home with all familiar things. And it was my chance to say, thank you. You know, I'm adopted. I forgot that. I'm also adopted. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for being my mother. And it had come that full circle, you know, all of those years. So I was 40 at this stage. And that event fell in a great hole, as many people do when they're hit with such tragedy, and that feeling of loneliness, of being alone. I don't have anybody. I'm a single mum, no brothers and sisters, and that probably is the point where I started doing some training and looking at other things, mindfulness, law of attraction. I got into all of that when 2006 hit. So 6 years later, when The Secret hit, you know, I was in, you know, fully. I'd also done some training with Tony Robbins by that stage, and understood then that the power is within me. I can control my thoughts. Previously, I didn't think that. I truly believed that it was set in stone. I would always be, big part of me would always be sad, feeling that lost child, feeling responsibility, happiness and joy. No, I think I missed that. I believed all of these things, even though I was quite successful at the time and doing lots. I needed to do the work. And I know I've heard you say this earlier today. And it doesn't happen overnight. It really doesn't happen overnight. You know, particularly if you've had a very difficult childhood, or you've had some trauma, allow yourself to actually acknowledge that happened. Yeah, see, that was something I didn't give myself space or time, or, you know, forgive the situation. I was just on that treadmill of just survive. And now I've come to the point where I don't like the word victim, and I don't like the word survivor. I think both of those polarize us. I think it just is. Our past does not have to set ourselves up for our future.
That's right. So beautiful what you share so far. In the beginning, you mentioned some mental illness. Today, in television, in the media, and internet, everywhere you hear about mental illness, which is so good because it's so much of that. But being aware, we can help people. We can understand people, because back in the day, you know someone, but everything was hush-hush. And there was a lot of damage in the families, in the children's, the people they have to live every day that. And I think what you are sharing is going to empower so many people. They suffer themselves, or have someone to come out and say, I need help. There has to be help.
Exactly. Yes. And I think, you know, it's so important. It's so important. Don't shut down. Look, I think one of the things I worry about with social media is that we're bombarded with all these beautiful messages and people doing fancy things and stuff. You know, it's really important, guys. That's not real. Okay, it may be in that moment of that time in that person's life, but you're not seeing the balance. And that's why now, during COVID, so I've only just come back to Australia. So during COVID, I was in the UK and locked in a flat for months. And what I decided to do was I would write a book. So I wrote a book called Resilience. And because I think if there's a thread in me, it's resilience. I do bounce back, despite whatever's, you know, and the play on my back. But you know, I will bounce back. But where did that come from? Well, I believe that I was put in this family because I could handle it. I could handle it.
Yes.
So I believe, as I think Aleph was saying earlier, you know, we're where we're supposed to be. I didn't understand that for a long time. I was angry and I was upset, and, you know, why me? The big thing, why me?
Why me? Yes.
Yes. Again, you're going to throw universe, you're going to throw something else at me. So, you know, the divorce, the same thing. Why didn't my marriage work? I worked so hard at that. You know, you fall in that hole. Why, you know, my father, who's such a strength, why did he have to die when I'm just on the cusp of creating a new career for myself? At the time, I was doing my psychology degree. And just by the by, I spent 3.5 years doing a psychology degree. That 5 days with Tony Robbins was like the equivalent. I learned so much, because you're coming at, you know, from a very different point of view, learning that you do have control of yourself. So for mental health and looking at social media, please know, don't compare yourself to anybody else.
Right. Very good.
It's your story, it's your experience, it's your now.
That's right.
Okay, and that's what you can work with. And then once you realize this is your now work out what can you control and what can't you control. And the most important, you can control this.
That's
you
right.
can control your thoughts. It's not easy. And as Carmen said, you know, like on my back in pain, like, don't get me wrong, those couple of days, because I actually couldn't hold myself up. So I couldn't I lived by myself. My legs wouldn't support my spine. And you fall in this hole. That's okay. I really want people, it's okay. You can fall in that hole. The key is you can't stay there. Allow yourself 2-3 days, then you must reach out. So I am very fortunate. I'm grateful every single day. I have an amazing small group of best friends who have been friends with me for 30 years. And we always connect with one another. You know, we've all gone through, you know, children and divorces and marriages and deaths and things. And, but we always check in, and we know that we can be real. So I have a keyword to my friends, which is bumpy. So I've been doing this for many years. So if my friends contact me and, you know, how are you doing today? I'll say, I'm actually feeling bumpy today. Now that's code for I'm struggling with whatever it is. And then they will hop on, we will talk about it. You get it out, as girls do. You know, we're great at just talking it out. You know, why am I feeling this way? You know, because I'm annoyed. I've worked so hard to be walking again, and now I'm back to square one, you know, and that's the thing that Facebook and the social media and things don't show you, that these people, they are struggling. They do have issues, but you don't see how they're bouncing back. So that's what, you know, when I'm doing my coaching with people, that's the first thing, you know, where are you? Where do you want to go? But more importantly, what's going on in your head? Because there is the numbers are incredible. The negative thoughts that we have going in a loop in our mind, all of us, even those of us that know that we can control it, they're still there. So we have to replace them, and we have to come up with strategies. So I have a number of strategies that I do for myself. And that's, you know, going on the backs of other people who've created amazing programs to help you.
I'm so grateful for everything you are saying, because we need to do more things like this, more summits, more workshops to put awareness in people. And by these words that you just say, I know it's going to bring hope in so many people, because people don't realize we was born with resilience inside of us. The problem is that we don't know how to use it. And sometimes we hear so many voices from the outside. In our mind is the worst enemy. Your enemy is not the person outside, it's this. Because when you learn to change your mindset, all those negatives, listen, I'm a coach and I still have to fight. And I believe you have to fight. It's not that you arrive to a point. Yes, you heal, you learn. You arrive to a point that you learn how to fight the things inside, how to fight the voices outside. But Shirley is saying, look at her, a little girl, what she overcome to turn this amazing woman empowering and having a coaching other people. We're going to send you, and we're going to make available her website, her contact, because I think if you have someone, you need to connect with her. I believe what we learn in university, in school is good, but the best university is life, because no one could teach you what you learn from life. I say, I was a coach before I hit rock bottom with certain emotional problem. And my best school was when I hit rock bottom. I didn't know that I have so much resilience. Like you say, I didn't know even I was so good in helping others. I didn't even believe that I can have depression, and I hear depression. But I needed to learn how to move from that hole, to rise up again and create a life, not only better for myself, to empower others as well. And if I was able to do it, you can do it too. And you just need to learn the tools they are available. Like Shirley, right in front of me, she is a tool. If you need help, please, she is a tool. Get in contact with her. If you need emotional restoration, I am a tool. You can contact me. I have seen so many, like you, Shirley, when we talk, so many women restore because what we share, because we understand what we went through life. That is, we understand. And no matter what is your problem, you can be divorced. Like Shirley was sharing about the things she went through with the friends. In life, you go through different pain, divorce, you lost someone dear in your life, and you have to go through a mourning period. It's a lot of different problems. Then, we have an experience with my husband. In the time that we're supposed to retire, we become broke. We lost everything. We did a wrong thing, and we start over in life at 60. So we know what it takes, and we are so happy and looking forward, and I know you can do it. So please, you have a problem maybe with a name that you have. Yes, my problem is this, but let me tell you, no matter what is your problem, the first problem you need to fix is the emotions. Because how can you make a plan to fix your life if emotionally you don't even know what to do? It's nothing wrong. I mean, it is wrong that you feel like that, because when I feel like that, it is wrong. But you can fix it. Just get help. I encourage you to get help. Shirley, I want the last 5 minutes to share, okay, there was the sad part of your life. But your story doesn't end there, because you're creating this amazing businesswoman. And I want to encourage people that no matter their past, if you are determined, you can create an amazing life. If in 5 minutes you can, please, to encourage other women, please.
Absolutely. I think if I was to leave one thing, forgiveness and gratitude. Beautiful. These two things are so powerful. If I go to sleep every night and do a list of gratitudes, because it's the last thing that's in my mind that I'm grateful, because even when things are really bad, you can find something, even if it's something small. Thank you for the bed I am laying in. Thank you for the house I am laying in. Thank you for the food that I had, right through to huge things. Thank you for my successful business, etc. Find, even if it's 4 or 5, so you go to sleep with your subconscious thinking that there are good things, even in your moment of despair. Now, this is hard. You've got to dig really deep sometimes, really in the face of tears, maybe. Dig deep and find those. So it's the last thing in your mind and the first thing that you do when you get up. When I'm in the shower in the morning with the water flowing over me, I take a moment. It's calm, it's quiet, and just plan my day, but more importantly, again, thinking about what I'm grateful for. That stops me falling into that hole that I talk about. Now, not every single time, but most times, 8 out of 10 times, if I'm feeling bumpy or there's something going on, focusing on like bookends to my day with gratitude. The other thing is forgiveness. When you are able to forgive people, it frees you. If you can twist that around, in that some people find it hard because they did the wrong thing and they deserve me to still stay angry at them, and whatever dialogue you've going on in your head, if you can flip that around and think, actually, it'll do me good to forgive them, it'll free me. If you can do that, trust me, so much will just let go, because you can't change their behavior. You can't change the way other people are talking, behaving, even in the past, how they spoke to you and how they behaved. You can't do anything, but you can control what you do and how you react and how you think. Yes. So if you can do your gratitudes, because while you're thinking something positive, it's hard for those negative things. It's like you're building a fortress around yourself. And then the other thing is, if you need to forgive, and we all do, I'm sure that there's not anybody that's not harboring something. If you can do that, you will free yourself, empower yourself.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
See, each lady talk about forgiveness and gratitude. So that means right there, you have two tools: forgiveness, release, forgive and release the person that hurt you, or even if you have to forgive yourself for something that you did, that, please forgive yourself. And the other thing, gratitude. That, when I was in the darkest moment of my life, in that period, and there was one moment I was lying in the couch and I couldn't take it anymore, being like that. There was no myself. I'm a happy person, a outgoing person. I was lying in the couch. I got up. And the thing that came to my heart, how to get out of the situation, think something to be grateful. And I thought it was a joke. I even got upset. How can I be grateful? Look at my life. I got nothing to be grateful for. 2 days took me to realize I'm alive. If I'm alive, I have hope. And from there is how I start going up again. Shirley, what you just shared is such an amazing sharing, and really have so much gratitude in my heart, because I know it's going to touch so many lives. I know that. I know as we put it in different, because it doesn't finish today. This we're going to keep promoting, especially what you just shared. I'm going to promote it because I know there is so much need for people to say. So I have so much gratitude. Will you be able to, where people can find you? If I want to connect with you, how can I connect with you? I got an angel behind the curtains that is going to write your details. Okay.
Well, thank you, Angel. You can go info@shirleycampbellsuccess.com. That will email me and I can get back to you there. And I do apologize for the first interrupting 5 minutes with me running around and screen on off.
No. See,
we got there.
I used to think that everything has to be perfect. And I learned that life is not perfect. So can we not perfect? So we can pretend that everything goes perfect, and we talk about it. Perfection is only for internet, when people want to show things, and they prepare. Okay, I just want to check. Can you? I wanted Matt. You put it in the chat. Shirley's. Yes, Shirley. Is that your information?
Just looking here, sliding down. Yes, that's perfect. Thank you. Thank you, little fairy in the background.
We will send it into social media because it's very important. So thank you so much.